What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hardy Construction with your host, Comp.
And MMAB.
As well as
Thea.
from horrorharbor.tumblr.com. And today's film is
Southbound, a 2015 movie.
This is a 2015 film? Okay.
I think it's 2015. Am I wrong?
No, yeah.
That's great.
Okay, I thought it
Okay.
just got released. Anyway,
See,
since
I did my research.
No, you're right, it is on IMDb. Since it is a southern, is it a southern film or is it southbound because it's hell, right? Whatever,
Well,
I
they're
guess.
in the desert, and they are heading south, but I think
Okay,
they're referencing hell.
Okay, so let me perfect my southern accent as I read the,
Oh God.
what this means, or what this movie's about. 5 interlocking tales of terror follow the fates of a group of weary travelers who confront their worst nightmares and darkest secrets over one wrong night on a desolate
Look at
stretch
that.
of desert highway. Thank you.
He does the best
God.
German
That was a good
accent.
Texas. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so yes, this film is directed by a group of people, including Radio Silence, Roxanne Benjamin, David Bruckner.
Radio Silence is the name of the Jamiroquai band, but it's not them. They did like
They didn't
VHS
do
stuff.
this.
As well as
Yeah,
Patrick,
No, they didn't do this. No, I was actually looking it up. Like, wait, what? Like, I was so confused.
as well as Patrick Horvath. It's written by Roxanne Benjamin, Matt Bettinelli, fuck that name, Oplin, David Bruckner, Suzanne Burke, Dallas Richard Hallman, and Patrick Horvath. So this is a film that is a sort of, when I first heard about this film, I thought, okay, this is just some kind of southern horror film. Then I didn't realize it was actually what type of film, Thea?
It's an anthology.
Oh.
And it's actually, I think it's from the makers of, well, from maybe one of the producers of VHS.
It is. Because
Oh, really? Okay.
Radio Silence has redeemed themselves because they did the opening and closing films for this film. Radio Silence, if you remember, did the opening and, the segments.
Rubber?
Yeah, from the segments
For
of
which one, though?
VHS Part 1 with the hipster.
Oh, that was the one with all the
The
bros.
Bros, the one we hated.
The hipster.
Oh, okay.
The hipster sharking bros. Anyway, so this film I heard about. This is the first time you guys have ever heard about this film because I heard about it a little bit back. I saw the poster for it.
I feel like I've seen pictures of it, but I've never really known much about it.
It has a
I think
pretty.
I heard about it when it was sort of making, I think it made the rounds at TIFF last year, maybe?
Okay.
Or at least at a couple of film festivals anyway.
See, like, Thea actually pays attention to, like, film festivals and stuff, and I only pay attention to, like, VOD releases, and Danny doesn't pay attention to anything, so it's pretty...
Yeah, I don't pay attention to anything. People tell me what to watch, and I watch it.
Well, the
Dan-
Toronto one is in the place where I work and live, so...
all Danny
At least I
does...
kind of know what's going on.
All Danny does is sit down and stew about how they fucked over him with Game of Thrones. But that's a different story.
Well, I'm along with a lot of people that are pissed off about this.
So this
So
film...
let's not even
Can't
get
wait to hear
into it.
So this film is constructed of 4 segments. One is bisected, that is the beginning and the end. The first one is The Way Out and The Way In. First we'll go into The Way Out, which is directed by Radio Silence, written by Matt Bettinelli. Oh, Christ. Bettinelli Olpin. Get a
Just
new
stop even
name.
trying.
So, Thea,
And
what's
Theo.
the Way Out about?
It's the way out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, are you doing it?
No,
No, I
Thea.
was gonna make a funny joke, but you go.
No,
on.
hold on, Thea, hold on. Danny, go ahead, do it.
I was just gonna say that 2 people are attacked by dementors. Shut up.
Oh man, that was so funny. I just vomited. Okay,
Shut
Thea.
up.
So what's the Way Out about?
So we come upon 2 guys driving down this long, long highway. They are covered in blood. They look pretty freaked out. They are being followed by these weird, sort of dementor-looking, like, creepy floating black cloud creature things.
They are fun, though.
They are pretty fun.
It's weird because they're great designs, but they're not very good graphics.
Hmm.
I just had to stop the episode to say that. But go ahead, Thea. So what happened?
They look pretty interesting.
They do.
I like how their face open up like vaginas.
And they turn, and it's weird because they have a weird face, and then it opens up to like skulls and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you guys? Okay, so before we get into the meat of the film, did you guys have a sense of what the movie was within this first 10 minutes of the film, or were you
No.
sort of confused by what was going on?
I had no idea.
Did you guys know that it was an anthology before you started watching it?
I did.
I had heard. I think Alex maybe mentioned it, but I didn't understand how it was going to come together until like 2 into it, basically.
I still don't think it came together, but so anyway, these two guys are driving down this highway. Apparently, they've gone through some nasty business. Both of them are basically covered in blood. And as they're driving down this, I assume this takes place in the South. They're driving down this deserted highway. There's desert to the left and right, and they sort of see these, like Thea said, dementor creatures. These shadowy sort of, they look like wraiths. And as they drive, they're just trying to ignore it, and they end up going to this.
Never ignore a wraith.
They end up going to this diner where one of the guys is attacked by the creatures, and we're sort of inked into that this is sort of a purgatory, which I assume the rest of the film is taking place in this purgatory since everybody else is existing in the same.
I think this town is supposed to basically be like the Twilight Zone or something. Like they got like vampire creatures and
all kinds of crazy shit.
I will say I did like one of the camera tricks they did where the guys drive up to the same diner, drive off, and in the same shot, the same truck drives into frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's like very early into the film, and I was like, okay, I like. You can tell they did that with no budget, but it was still so uniquely done well. I thought that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I think that the movie, like it. Okay, here's the thing: you're gonna compare these to the other films that we've seen, like VHS and ABCs of Death.
Right.
You have to. I mean, there's just any anthology film now that comes out is probably going to be compared to VHS because VHS is sort of the new version of an anthology for horror films.
I think ABC's was better.
No, I do think so too, but I think people are much more aware of VHS than they are ABCs of Death. I think VHS made more of a splash.
Right.
But I think with this is at least VHS and ABCs of Death as kind of uneven as they were. They at least sort of had beginning, middles, and ends, and it seems like every segment in this film is just a middle, and there's nothing to it that you're like, well, to me at least, I couldn't get into or giving a shit about any of the characters.
The beginning and end tie it all together. It's basically like these people are just like
the beginning
living out like their nightmares.
To me, the beginning and the end tie together because it's the same story. The rest of it doesn't tie at all.
Contained within there, it's like all these people are like in hell, basically.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying that it doesn't give you enough emotional response to give a shit about anything else because each segment is about 10 to 15 minutes long.
Right, which is not really long enough to establish any kind of history for anybody, so it's just kind of like, oh, random people that we threw at these stories.
But they did do it in like VHS. Even in 3 minutes, you still got a lot more. Oh, I'm into this in ABCs of Death in those films. You know, I was like, okay, I got the story. It's happening. Here, it sort of seems like okay, we have these setups of stuff that you're watching. It's almost like when you walked into. So I just read something about like Star Wars Episode 8, the one that's being filmed right now.
Say nothing.
What am I gonna say? Oh, there's gonna be Jedis, Danny. Anyway, but the director of Star Wars Episode 8...
He knows all the spoilers.
No. So anyway, the director of Episode 8 was saying there was something greater about the prequels that you knew about these characters coming in than there was about the originals that you had no idea with the storylines. That's your director for the new one. But I think...
Well, he better shut up and change course.
So with this one, I think with this film, like the first storyline, I think... The weird thing is the film, every segment is shot really well. Like, I think it looks great. It just felt like everybody had won a contest on some website to put their short film in, but they were like, you know what, let's cut the storyline out and just keep the cool visuals in. What
do you think they lost something trying to tie them all directly together?
I think so, because
they're very much trying to make them lead sort of in and out of each other, right?
Right, and they have good...
But, I mean, that's only, like, the last 5 seconds of each one, eh?
Yeah.
Like, the lady talking on the phone to that guy Lucas the whole time in the hospital and shit, like, and then it cuts to her, and that's it. Like, that's...
that one I actually kind of liked, because I thought it was just so strange and, like,
of Lucas doing the surgery on her?
Yeah, I thought that was great too.
That one was actually giving me like a.
I didn't love that whole story, but I liked the ending sort of leading. I liked that ending leading into the next one, maybe the best.
I think for an anthology series, it probably has one of the better transition sequences to each other, just for the sake that we're now in the same hotel, or this. Yeah. Somebody's on the phone talking to somebody who botches a surgery, stuff like that.
Or the girl, like the survivor girl from the girl band.
Right.
Makes it to the road, finally finds a car and gets hit by it immediately.
Which leads us to the accident. Because the first one, there's not really much that goes on besides two guys driving away from wraiths and they just get attacked. Like, there's nothing that happens substantially in the first one.
The other one survives.
Right. So, the accident. Thea, what's this one about?
Well, it's actually, the siren one is just
I'm sorry.
before that.
The siren is the second one, yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the end credits and they have it mislabeled. So, go ahead, sirens.
So basically, the guy from the first part of the wraparound story, he gets trapped in this motel room that looks like his old house, whatever. He's living a purgatory of his dead daughter, and he's just running through this room over and over again. And as you come out of that hotel room and the door closes, you see a maid go to the next room. And I think in that next room is Sadie, Ava, and Kim, who are in a band. You sort of get the impression eventually that they had a fourth member, but that member had died somehow.
And it's
I
not...
don't know if they ever actually talk about how that she died.
No, they just said you left her to die. That's it.
Right.
Apparently it was the fault of the main girl who doesn't eat meat and is in the next story after this.
But the weird thing is, it wasn't like... It's almost like these characters are all... Like, the stuff I was reading in IMDb were like, these are people obviously all in purgatory. They all did something wrong. But I don't know what was so bad, unless this is like personal
One
hells.
of them had sex with a 49-year-old. That's pretty bad.
Hey, Danny, we're going to be there one day, so don't worry about that. We're going to be wishing that people...
we'll be the 49-year-olds
That's what I mean.
With the...
But, yeah, apparently the three girls are in this punk, I don't know what kind of band they're in, and apparently every character in this film is based off of somebody, or named after somebody from a band called the Pogues, which I'm aware of, but I've never heard their music, so I'm sure I lost street cred there. But the one...
You didn't have any to begin with.
That's true. But yeah, one girl, I guess, I don't know if she was the best friend of the main girl of this band, or the main character in this sequence.
It seems like kind of they were the best friends.
And I don't know, it's not said why she died, how she died. It's just said, there's some sort of weird guilt that's put upon this character. And the other one's kind of a teaser about it, but...
I think it's like she left her alone to go get laid, and it was something like she got hit by a car, or like something happened to her when she was alone.
Yeah, so
after a gig or something.
It's probably something that's out of her control, but
something funny.
Yeah, yes.
Something
she slipped on a banana peel.
Really funny.
But, so, Thea, what happens in this Sirens?
So, the girls are basically doing like a cross-country trip, it seems like, in their weird hippie van. And I think they get a flat, or they run out of gas or something. Anyway, they are sidelined at the side of the road. They are looking for any cars to flag down, and the first car that comes along, or the first one that stops, is a weird couple who you should instantly know are going to be crazy.
Now, they should have had a Great Dane in their hippie van, and they would have been safe.
They looked like... It's a couple that looks like they stepped out of the 1950s.
What the hell are you talking about, a Great Dane? Scooby-Doo, yeah, I just got that. It's so weird because the girl who... Fabienne Therese, I can't believe that I've seen more movies with this girl because she's in a lot of genre films. Mm-hmm. She was, Danny, if you remember, she was the girl in Starry Eyes, the really bitchy friend that, like, the one that would put down the main character every time. She was like
she's also in John Dies at the End.
Right, I think she's the girl with the phantom arm.
I think so, the girlfriend, yeah.
And she was also in this film that I think I'm the only person who's ever seen it, called The Aggression Scale, with about this, it's almost like Home Alone, but incredibly violent, and I actually liked it, but it's like really
more
low budget.
Violent than Home Alone?
Yes, although they didn't have a short Italian man have his head lit on by a...
You know what would be awesome? If they had a Home Alone remade, but like with actual, gore and shit, like the way it would really be if you got hit in the face with a paint bucket or something.
You just see like the nose distend and crack and fall off of like a Mitch or whatever the hell those guys
call. And
call.
then like the tarantula bites him and you see him go blue and like seizure or something.
Perfect ending.
Yes. Anyway,
that would be great.
That said, Fabienne Therese is a very, 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 very lovely young lady. So they get picked up by this couple, Thea, and what happens there?
So the couple takes them back to their house, which of course is pretty much in the middle of nowhere, with one neighbor family who have some creepy twin sons who basically just are there to look weird and stare at people.
Mm-hmm.
So they invite the girls to stay the night until they can get their car fixed, and they invite them to have dinner with them. And
now, the second I saw those twins, I would run.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
like,
care
fully.
where I am.
That was one of the probably the second bad sign, I guess, other than the fact that the entire house looks like it was redone like 40, 50 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Weird enough, just to throw in, Jason Eisner edited this. The guy who directed Hobo with a Shotgun and did Y is for Young Buck. I don't know why he's not doing more films. Maybe he's not getting...
Maybe
Awesome.
that's why I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
I'm not a fan.
What was your issue with this one?
I don't know. Well, you don't really care about the girl. I didn't really care about the girls.
No.
Particularly.
Not really, yeah.
Their exchanges, and maybe that's just because their exchanges before they get into trouble. Yeah, they weren't appealing at all. They didn't seem like they were that good friends. Maybe that was just trying to be like the tension of they think she...
I feel like I would want to wash my hands after shaking hands with one of them. They seem like so gross.
I think the thing with this film too, while I was watching, the problem I also had was just from the first story alone, I knew I didn't have to give a fuck about any character because you knew it was going to be over within 10 minutes, and you were like, meh. Like, it's like they're trying to force the main character to be likable. It's not like the main girl came off like an asshole because she didn't do anything outright that seemed crappy. She just, you know.
You need something to sort of anchor you to a character and make you feel any kind of sympathy or like almost like they could be a friend of yours,
right?
Or they could be someone to you.
Like
as
the
opposed
only
to just sort of like cannon fodder.
The only anchor I had to her, honestly, and it's very like selfish, is because she was attractive. Like, she's cute, you know. That's all I cared about. And then I actually only cared about her more in the accident, not because of her character, just for the fact that she was somebody that got hit by a car and she was like suffering really bad.
I mean, that's the point at which I feel like you care about her most. But basically, so they go to this house, they get invited to dinner or to stay for dinner and sleep there, and they serve this meatloaf with their creepy neighbors there too.
Would you eat that meatloaf?
No
absolutely
way.
not. It looks
I would starve before eating that.
It looks like somebody basted and cooked burnt rubber, kind of.
It looked like the tar zombie from Return of the Living Dead pooped on a plate.
It's really. It looks like, you know, like you know how horse shit looks strange because they mostly eat grass. Like, it looked like that, like, or elephant shit, like something you'd see in the zoo or something. But and it's weird to see Dana Gould in this film because I don't know if you guys know who Dana Gould is. I'm sure he was the husband of the father of those twins. The guy with the glasses. He looked like he's a comedian, and you've seen him in a lot of comedic shit. I guess you guys haven't seen him because you're like,
right now.
Yeah, he was the guy that was the most recognizable actor in this film besides the Fabian Antilles character.
I actually recognized the woman who played his wife because she was in a movie called The Signal, which I really liked.
Oh, was that the Canadian one with the...
That one actually was an anthology.
Oh, wait a minute.
Too, but it was just 3 shorts.
Yeah, I saw that movie too. I liked that a lot. The only weird thing about The Signal is that they really made the husband look like a piece of shit, but you have no reason to really hate the guy.
Yeah.
And
I don't know who this guy is.
That movie was pro-adultery. It was great.
It was a little bit.
And anyway, so The Signal, believe me, also, Thea, did you see the trailer for Cell, the Stephen King movie that they're making?
I did. Which is basically ripoff.
The Signal.
I did also read that book.
I did too, and which is very disturbing to me because the Cell looks like a piece of.
Signal rips off Cell.
They basically came out the same way. It's almost like saying those two.
They were just it was in the zeitgeist.
It's like Armageddon and Deep Impact. You know how those films came out at the same time, and they're essentially the same film. So I think Cell and Signal came out basically around the same time.
Cell's got a lot of really cool stuff in the book, but
it's great. And obviously the movie looks like they had a $10 version. All the money went to Morgan Freeman, Samuel. Who was in it? Samuel Jackson. I was racist there for a second.
There's nothing. They're so different.
No. I was thinking Deep Impact. That's why. I'm sorry. That's my excuse for my racism. Anyway, so they feed him this meat, and this meat has magical hypnotism power, I assume, Thea.
But our main girl does not eat it because she's a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
But her 2 friends
save the earth.
Her 2 friends eat it, and soon after, they start acting quite strangely, sort of like the rest of the people in the house. And
they learn to be part of a cult.
They
from
learned it.
eating meat.
It looked like
When you eat this meat, it infuses you with rituals.
yeah. So and I mean, I always love kooky cult angles, like horror cult, not just like boring cult films. And they had this here, but it wasn't.
They don't have enough time to develop it, really.
They didn't have enough money to do it either, because it's just like, it's like, okay, a cult.
Oh, they were in robes and walking out to a bonfire.
Oh,
okay.
they must be crazy.
I liked it. It was funny. Like I'm picturing, like, see all these things. Yeah, they're all quick. I get what you're saying. You don't really care that much, but I was just like viewing it as like for fun, not like so serious, you know?
Yeah, I think it was still entertaining.
Was that the?
Yeah, exactly.
Was that your least favorite one, though, Thea, or?
It's hard because I honestly didn't mind it. It was just predictable. Like, you knew exactly what was going to happen as soon as they got into that into the couple's car.
That's true.
Did we not?
That's true. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was sort of like, and then like when she had that sort of weird nightmare with her friend coming out, I was like, this is cheap. I was like, yeah, whatever. Which leads us to the accident. Danny, what's the accident? Let's hear Danny talk about it. I always laugh when Danny explains something.
The accident is a nice guy, Lucas, is texting and driving and talking on the phone.
Don't do it, guys.
Don't do it. And as a result, he hits the girl Sadie from the previous story, who had escaped from the cult. Mm-hmm. See, she didn't eat meat and she got hit by a car. That shows you kill
That's
animals.
true karma.
It's true.
True karma. Should have killed that pig and eaten it.
She would have had a nice brown sack dress, and she would have been eating with her friends, and that's it.
She would have been fine. She would have been in a cult, sure, but she would have been fine.
At least she would have been alive.
It's funny how we're
for eternity.
It's funny how we're blaming the victim.
No, she had to die, and now she's gonna have this guy Lucas so he's talking on the phone with these people, and it was just the whole vibe of it.
Danny
I
love how Danny just jumps the whole.
What are you saying?
Danny just jumps the whole storyline. Anyway, so he gets into the accident. Hits this girl, obviously texting his wife, and he gets
He's in the middle of nowhere.
Right. He calls the cops, and which leads to just random voices telling him or giving him these instructions on how to save this woman by driving her to a abandoned hospital. And I got to say, this to me was probably one of probably the best one, even though there's no real concrete, but it was. The most intense out of all.
It was very hard to watch.
It was very.
Heather was watching the movie with me.
Ugh.
And at this point, like as soon as he hit her and they showed all of her injuries and him carrying her to the car and that kind of thing, she was like, "I'm out."
Yeah, it really is a rough scene because I can't really
see the worst of it.
Because there's a lot of films which sort of like you say Hostel or something or Saw, where it makes the violence or the gore like pornographic, like you're watching it like Story of Ricky and stuff, and you're watching it's fun and it's funny. Well, not funny necessarily, funny, but this one is sort of more like realistic in the sense that it's uneasy, and you can't imagine being in that situation, helpless, helping somebody. Like the part when he's lifting her up and her leg falls out of place and it falls off the bone. It's if anything, alone to watch this segment of the film is worth it because it's really disturbing. Like it's
the part when say what you're gonna say, Thea.
It's very isolating.
Right.
Because he really is alone and relying on who he thinks is a 911 dispatcher and various other people, like a certified EMT, and then a surgeon later. He thinks he's relying on people who know what they're doing, but it turns out not to be so.
And then, like, this just the part where he's reaching in with the lungs, like, that was, like, where I was like, oh my god, like, yeah, because I could picture, like, if you actually did hit somebody with your car, and somebody that you think knows what they're talking about is telling you to do this, you would just, like, you wouldn't even think about it. You would just do it, no matter how disgusting.
Because you're like, if I can, I would. Like,
yeah, like, I would do it. Like, I wouldn't even think twice about it. So it's like...
Because otherwise you're going to die, right?
Yeah, right. So it was, like, making me, like, kind of feel panicky.
But then,
it really is.
It in, like, the abandoned hospital that they got him to.
As there's, like, 3 voices.
And there's no one anywhere. It's terrifying.
As I watched this, I was like, this is a movie I want to see. Like, this segment is a movie I want to watch, and I want to follow him after it happens. But then you're, forced to watch the rest of the film. And it's funny because he's not a morally ambiguous guy. It's not like the sequence from Creepshow 2, where the woman hits the guy and she just drives off. Like, he decides to stay because with this one, it's unpredictable in the fact that you don't know whether he's going to stay or, leave. And he actually takes her to the hospital, and that's like that's a good cue for a moral character, and the fact that he tries to save her and listening to her and he just gets fucked over for it.
Males.
But
Yeah.
this to me was the best segment of the film, and it's also morally questionable how it ends too. How he just kind of cleans his shit up and leaves, and it shows you how he's just like, fuck it, I'm above this. Oh, which does that mean he's stuck in purgatory now? Was he really a bad guy? Like, what's going on? Why doesn't he have to pay a price while the girl did?
Maybe he's gonna get back on the road and hit somebody.
Could be,
again?
probably.
He is paying the price for every person who texts and drives.
I love how the phone cut off when you were saying that. Anyway, so also the story after that, which is Jailbreak.
Jailbreak.
Jailbreak,
Jailbreak.
the worst story. I mean, go ahead, Thea. What's Jailbreak about?
So the dispatcher, as you see Lucas drive off in his perfectly new car, the dispatcher who is talking to him on the phone is on an old payphone outside of a bar. And so she hangs up the phone and walks into a bar, where Danny.
I gotta say,
in the parking lot and
it was upsetting to keep hearing people say my voice. I feel the same way when I watch The Shining.
just for the second, it's so funny how nobody cared what Danny just said. But I didn't
know
like. I just liked that it started with her, because now we had a face behind that phone, and the director had no idea what the fuck was going. He was like, just started with somebody on the phone talking. That's it. I'm sure that's the same actor who did the voice on the phone. But it was just like, oh, that's who's doing it, and like, how do they know?
I'm not gonna pay two people.
I guess not. Well, this movie didn't have enough money. But I'm sorry, Thea, to cut you off. How does it continue?
So Danny makes his way into the bar soon after her because she's left the door open. Apparently, they lock it. I guess. He breaks in with a shotgun, and it looks like he's gonna rob the place. But he actually explains that he's searching for his sister Jessie.
What an asshole! I would never search for anyone.
No family members?
When the locals aren't really cooperating with helping him sort of track her down and find out where she is, he shoots one of the locals who turns out to be a demon.
Is he a demon or a vampire?
Well, it says demon in the synopsis, but I don't really know exactly what they are.
The woman on the phone, what is she from? She looked really familiar.
Her name is Maria Olson, and she's from Percy Jackson, Gore Orphanage, The Lords of Salem, Starry Eyes.
Starry Eyes?
I haven't seen any of those.
I've seen Starry Eyes and Lords of Salem.
The woman that was on the phone, that got off the phone at the beginning? The one that was being a total asshole? Yeah, her.
Apparently.
I'm trying to think. I've seen her face, but anyway. So yeah, this one is sort of like if you had $5 to do a remake of Dusk Till Dawn and John Carpenter films. Because basically, this shares with the first story where it's just like, who gives a fuck? Like, I don't care about any of these characters. This guy went to go pick up his sister or look for his sister, which I guess is a link to the first story because this guy's looking for his...
Can I interrupt for a second? I'm looking at this lady's IMDb. Apparently she's going to be in a new Killjoy movie called Killjoy's Psycho Circus.
Oh, no.
I still haven't seen any of those movies.
You got to, Thea. Please watch Killjoy 2. It's the greatest. It's only an hour long.
It's outrageously bad. It's horrible.
It's so bad. Anyway,
it's unbelievable.
So this guy's looking for his sister, and it's like, I really could give a fuck less about this segment. It really was like, I wasn't vehemently hating it, but I was just like, oh, what is this? Like, I didn't care about any, like, like, the cool angle they really wanted to do was like, oh, there's monsters, you're shooting demons, but it's just like, who gives a shit? Like, he's looking for his sister, and his sister's like, I killed my parents, and I was like, oh,
and they were kind of nice demons.
They weren't hurting her, like, they basically had taken her because that's where she felt she belonged.
And I felt like...
Because she was just like a corrupted individual, I guess.
Because I assume by now they want the audience to know that they're in purgatory, like everybody's in purgatory or some sort of weird version of hell. That when she says that big revelation, oh, I killed these people, like they want people to go, oh shit, oh. I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like,
well, she obviously did something,
right? Like she's giving tattoos to monsters. Who gives a fuck what she's doing? It's just like so stupid. It's like,
oh, and so the tattoos, like that's how the dispatch person could see that the lady was getting the hospital and her ribs are broken and shit, like with that eye on her hand or something.
I have no idea. I guess I don't know. Then I was just
I think the eyes on their hands are able to like spy and see things.
Yeah, that was cool though. That part when the guy looked through his tattoo, like, but they didn't like explain any of it. But it was a cool. There's like cool ideas in this film, but it's not really cool execution. So who gives a fuck about that story? But anyway, so that leads off to the Way Out. I assume is the last story, which is the bookend of the first one. It's a prequel to the first story. And what happens there?
So basically, you see this little family. You see the daughter first. Gem.
She's outrageous.
You leave seeing.
Nobody got that?
The sister walk back to the secret door of the secret place she was being held in or staying in, and
I love how she explains things.
I'm terrible. And then this young girl
She
sort of
cares.
notices her, and then she goes back and sits with her parents. Gemma's going to college, and this is their last weekend together before she leaves.
It's their last weekend together. It's true.
You see sort of the camera pan. You see somebody watching them get into their car. They drive to the house that they're staying in, and as they're about to have dinner, 3 masked men break into their house.
So I thought this was good premise. The thing is, it's affected because I know it's completely linked with the first story, which at least gives it some weight to the whole production, which is fine, which I like. But
I didn't know it at first, though. You didn't know it at first, right?
No, of course not.
I was pretty sure as soon as the 3 guys sort of, you see them walking around and actually antagonizing these people, I was pretty sure that it was the 2 guys from the first part.
I had a hunch that it was them when he took his mask off. No, I was just like, yeah, there you go, that's them. But
Alex the Sleuth.
I was the sleuth. I had a Dick Tracy.
out.
I had my Dick Tracy hat on, or Dick Tracy.
Oh, wow.
So apparently the father had done something or kidnapped the sister or the.
Yeah, you never really know
Was
exactly.
it the daughter or the sister of the main guy in the first story?
Did he molest her or did he kill her?
Maybe both.
That's
Who
what people on
knows?
IMDb were saying, they got molested, because I guess the wife had known as well. I didn't know if the girl was kidnapped, at a young age and grew up to be that girl. Who knew anything? But apparently, like, somebody's theory on IMDb was like, I'm trying to see on the IMDb board. They were saying that, the reason why these guys got attacked by those wraiths is because they killed the daughter, the innocent daughter, and that's probably why.
Well, they did eye for an eye.
Basically. So, I mean, I liked it, but the thing is, Danny and I had just finished watching a film called Hush that just came out on Netflix, and it's sort of a similar premise, which was funny that in this one, something that I didn't pick up in the film Hush. I don't know, Thea, if you've ever seen that film yet, but
I know what it is, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's a deaf woman.
Check it out.
It's a deaf woman being harassed by an asshole. In front of, but the thing that I
That's about it.
is that
Yeah,
right?
premise.
But the thing about this is that they actually did what Hush didn't do. Really, was the guy actually was in the house doing stuff, as opposed. That's what I was kind of worried about Hush, is that why didn't they have more stuff in the house? They just kind of like kept the guy outside.
With her. He
Right,
wasn't
I guess
going
yeah.
in.
All right, thanks for that, Danny. But I think this one was good, that it sort of had the people in trouble, but they sped it up way too fast, and I think that's because they had a certain amount of time allotted to them as directors.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but the thing is, like, once you've seen these one type of film like this, that's why I don't know why we liked Hush, because once you see this type of film, they're all sort of the fucking same, the home invasion
Hush
films.
just did it particularly well, that's all.
Yeah, I think they did
Hush,
it pretty.
I mean, Hush had a different premise in that it was a deaf woman.
Right,
being
yeah, I
attacked,
think
so
that's
sort
what
of
it
that
is.
angle of it, which at least is interesting.
Because I have no interest
Her
in.
disabilities entertained us.
That's why I didn't have an interest to see. What was that movie with 3 people with the potato sacks on their head? Or what the hell was that called? The Invaders? Not the Invaders.
Strangers?
The Strangers. Yeah, like, I have no interest in watching that.
Yeah, me neither, really.
But-
I really liked it, but I don't know. I just don't care.
Did you? People liked it, but it's funny. But when I saw You're Next, the reason why I liked You're Next is because the girls fighting back and kicking their asses. So I think it's.
Yeah, Your Next was fun, because it was just like a Home Alone type of movie.
And it's the
Because
same.
it was like someone who's really capable.
And it's the same reason why I didn't watch The Purge Part 1, but I saw The Purge Part 2, and I liked The Purge Part 2. And Purge 3, I don't know what that's about. It's very strange. But but with this, it's basically a home invasion angle, and there is some sort of weird reveal in it, but it's not really anything that you can really give a fuck about, or I didn't give a shit about. I thought it was interesting that they bookended it like that, and I was glad they bookended something.
Well, they should have explained it in the fucking beginning part. Had the one line where he's like, the guy killed our daughter or something. I don't know. Whatever.
I think the thing is,
Well, in The Way Out, which is the first section,
Yeah.
the only real inkling you get that they did something. I mean, obviously, other than the blood,
Yeah, when
that's
he's
all
trying to
over
get
them,
him to
the
go
fact
back in
that
the truck.
they're
right?
terrified. Well, no, but he has a picture of his daughter. It's the same picture
Right.
you see in the second section,
Right.
Right.
and he looks at it sort of like, whatever, regretfully.
So, do you think it would have worked if they switched the storylines? If they had switched those endings, if they had put the prequel in the beginning and the ending at the end, or you think it would have just been like, who
I don't
gives a
know. Like,
No,
I
because then
didn't.
they die at the end. This
Yeah.
shows that they go on forever.
shit? Yeah, that's
didn't,
true.
I didn't mind the way they did it because I feel like even though I pretty much figured it out fairly quickly that it was those two guys from the beginning. I don't think it would have worked the other way around.
Also,
Yeah, you're right, you're
also,
Nothing
when he
interesting
talks
happened
to
in the
that
beginning of
lady. Remember when he talks to the lady and she says, "Oh, you had a rough night" or something?
In the gas
Like
station.
he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't answer her in the first part, but he answers her in the second.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
like kind of like he's making progress.
Oh, okay. Maybe he'll have a full sentence next time. He'll be
I
like,
don't
well,
want to give a big reveal of a
just
series that all three of us have read, but it's kind of the same for that main character in that ending of the book,
so let
where
me.
he makes progress.
Right.
Oh, Jesus. So let's. I mean, that's great. Great book. Great way to end the series. Stephen King,
I
great
know,
writer.
sorry about
Fantastic. What a wonderful book series. Fabulous. So, Daniel, let's. Let me just read some trivia that sort of links. This is a trivia I got from
You
IMDb.
read that trivia.
Okay, so I'm going to read one long trivia. There are numerous hidden. This is from IMDb. There are numerous hidden connections between the first segment, The Way Out, and the last segment, The Way In. No shit. These include 1. The truck from the first segment is visible in the freezing over parking lot at the beginning of the last segment. Oh God, what an obvious fucking thing. The house is the same in both segments, and many of the same shots are used, including. So is it the house? I don't even want to read this anymore. Who cares? In the first
Gave up already.
Okay, here we go. In the first segment, the creatures stalk Mitch and Jack in the exact same fashion that Mitch and Jack. This guy's reaching. Whoever wrote this is a fucking jerk. Jack is
It
crabs.
was probably a director.
The next. All right, screw this. I'm not reading that
It's the
trivia.
continuity guy who's just jerking off the whole
Yeah,
time.
if you want to read that, IMDb,
Oh, wow,
good luck.
That truck's the same kind of car as the other truck.
Holy cow! The sky is blue in both segments. Anyway. So anyway, yeah. Sorry for wasting everybody's time with that IMDb bullshit.
Tell me your thoughts. What are your final thoughts?
Okay,
on
here's the
this
thing. As a let's rank the stories first. Thea, let's go with you since you're the guest.
Okay.
Oh no.
Can I do all of them?
Yeah, just rank them without rating them. Just rank them story wise.
Well, I think I liked the concept of the accident the best, just because it felt like it sort of... That was the one that felt like it had a beginning, middle, end more than maybe the other ones.
I agree.
But maybe it's just because I cared more about Lucas because he seemed like he wasn't a total asshole.
Agreed.
It's true.
So that's probably what I'd rank first. Then I would probably rank the wraparound, because I didn't mind
Yes.
it.
Oh.
I didn't love those guys, but at least it was sort of... There was an intrigue. You weren't sure what they did in
There
the
was
first half.
substance to the story.
I actually
Sort of.
agree with you totally so far.
So far, yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
After that, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up for me between Siren and Jailbreak. I didn't love either of them.
Right.
I think maybe... I don't know.
What?
Did the
It's hard.
Did the Jason Eisner really throw you off?
Yeah, it totally threw me
Holy
off.
Lord,
I
this
think I
girl
did
hates
actually-
Jason.
I
Why do you
liked-
hate him so much?
I don't know, I didn't like...
Why is
his
for Young
segment
Buck?
in whatever... I guess
Young-
it was
Young
86.
Buck?
Yeah, I hated
Did
that.
you didn't like Hobo with a Shotgun? I thought that was pretty good.
I didn't mind it, I just didn't love it like a lot of other people did. that's all.
Jason Eisner must
You know
have
what?
kicked.
You're wrong.
Jason
You're
Eisner must have
wrong.
kicked Thea's dog or some shit because I have no idea what the fuck the animosity
Yeah, they
is.
have like some kind of dark history.
Anyway, go ahead.
But we
So
have a dark and storied past.
go ahead.
I guess I'd probably go with Siren over Jailbreak, just
Okay,
because
I
Jailbreak
agree.
I didn't care about either of the characters whatsoever.
Yeah,
Not,
and
like,
the
nothing
reveal
really made
to
sense.
the
I
reveal was so
agree,
shitty in that one.
Pretty much with you.
Yeah, I
although
agree
it
with
is
you.
hard to say that Siren is better than Jailbreak, but
It's hard.
maybe.
So I would probably.
because the coolest the only thing I liked in Jailbreak was like what you said, like how they had the eye tattoo so they can look through it. That was the coolest thing of that story, I think.
So it's like a weird sliding scale. So I would give the wraparound film probably a 7. The accident, I would give it a 9. The siren, I would probably give a 6 or a 5. And the last one, I would give like a 2 or something like that.
Not
ranking
that
wise.
bad.
Compared to the other ones, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't that good.
4 or something. Maybe
It just wasn't really a story so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right,
As
Danny.
a whole, what's the whole rating
so
of this
it's a 4.
movie? Thea?
Yes, yeah.
I would give it a 6.5. Terrible meatloaf-looking substances
That's
of a
pretty
10.
bad.
Okay.
I would give
I'm
it
gonna
a-
give it
okay.
a 7 out of 10. Reaching into an obviously doomed woman's stomach and pumping her lungs.
I would give it a 6.5 as well, or a 7. Well, I don't know if I want to give it a 7. Okay, here's the thing. It looks good. The soundtrack is really good. It has that sort of Drive-esque 80s synth sort of thing. So I give a shout out to whoever did the music for it. They really did well. It looks good. The accident alone is worth watching 10 minutes of this film. Camera design, acting is all good. The band is called The Gifted. The music composed by The Gifted, and I would give it a 6.5, well, 7 out of 10. Thinking you try to save somebody's life and lost, and then you just have people on the phone laughing at you about it.
That's right. You know what this movie reminded me of as a whole is maybe Grindhouse, Planet Terror, a little bit.
I didn't like that one because
I didn't like it too much either, but it kind of reminds.
I would
It's
think
like the soundtrack and like the
Right.
overall like Erie, Indiana feeling of it, you know.
yeah, Jill.
I get to 6.5 for me because it's watchable. Like I wasn't like tearing my hair out watching it.
Right, I wasn't bored.
No, even the weaker segments, I was
Right.
just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
it
they're
was.
fairly predictable, but it's easy to watch.
It just wasn't
Something to pop in.
it just wasn't put together all together really well as a storytelling experience. That's what I think. But it's watchable. I mean, it's not like if you have it on and you just want to chill with some people and just watch it. I think it's worth watching for like some of the cool stuff. It's not gory enough. The Accident is the goriest one, and it's probably why it's the best one.
I think it probably makes up in gore with the other slack.
Yeah. And it's not gore that makes it the best part. It's the intensity, but the gore adds to it. And anyway, other than that, I think it's a watchable film, and it's totally worth checking it out for like watching short films. But they really should make The Accident into a full film and just make it a whole like weird thing. I think. Other than
Or
that,
they should just have it be like a theme, like this guy now he leaves here and he's driving, he hits like